Welcome again. As promised, I'm going to talk about another watch today. And in front of me, as you can see from the box, is my latest acquisition from Panerai. Bit of my Panerai journey. I think I fell in love with Panerai when I ventured into a boutique many years ago. And this is when big watches was really in, right? And Panerai was just a sweet spot. And this was probably at the height of Panerai mania, where everybody wanted a Panerai. You know, people were selling their grandkids for Panerais. So I walked in and I looked, okay, what's the fuss about? And then I picked up the California. And then I heard the story behind how the Roman numerals with Arabic numerals and all that sort of beautiful history, or, you know, urban myth, whatever you want to call it. And I thought, how quirky is this watch with that story? And I thought, you know what, this is a beautiful watch and I'm going to acquire it, especially it was on a nice brown strap or what have you. What Panerai is famous for, as you can see, I've actually changed the strap out to a black one to give that sort of more formal look. Well, stock Californias come with a brown strap, which gives it a different completely feel to the watch altogether. And either one really suits. And this one is a lot more formal and when I wear it. Whereas the brown one, I like to wear it as a weekend watch and so forth. But whichever strap you choose, it is a wonderful looking watch. You know, looking at the mineral glass, how it bubbles out, the cushion case, the angles, everything about this watch is just really sexy. The hand wind movement at the back, it's great to look at. And when I got this watch, I believe it was probably one of very few watches that had a movement that was as attractive as this particular movement. And was just overjoyed when I acquired it. And it was my pride and joy for a very, very long time. Today, it's really large. I don't wear it often, purely because it's very large. Especially as you can see on my wrist at the moment, it's a 36mm Explorer, which in my first video, I've alluded to probably one of my favorite watches to wear. I will talk about this in a little bit, but let's get back to the Panerai. So overall, this was at the time I acquired it for 7,900 Australian dollars. It was a really good buy. The authorized dealer gave me a discount, I believe it was maybe 15%, I recall at the time. Really solid piece, but I just don't wear it anymore because why? It's too big. And, you know, back in those days, large watch was really hot. So you wore it and it was like, you know, it totally felt fine because everybody was wearing a big watch. So after you're wearing that, you know, this is like night and day, you know, so this doesn't get a lot of wrist time. So this is the only Panerai I own. So I've been thinking for a long while, I was thinking, you know what, I love that Panerai. Every time I look at this watch in my box, I was like, I want to wear it, but it's too big. I put it on, I take it off. Put it on, I take it off. And I was like, God, you know, only if Panerai made a smaller watch. So, this leads to the start of this episode. And you know what, I just remembered, I should have maybe remembered what this model number is and serial number. And but look guys, there's only so many of these Panerais in this size. I was invited to a Panerai event in Sydney boutique by my friend Paxton Wong. And during that evening, this particular piece was shown to me. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, this was everything I had hoped Panerai would do. And it's something that I would purchase if it was available. And on the evening when it was presented to me, and I was like, geez, all my prayers and wishes came true. And it didn't really take me long to pull the trigger because It's the same feel and aesthetics to the larger brother here. Sure, a lot of the Paneiristes and the Panerai fanatics may, you know, sort of frown upon this particular piece because they might not see it as a true Panerai, but hey, it is. It's got Panerai written on it. Of course it's a real Panerai. For me, it's what I love about Panerai. I'm getting the cushion case, but I'm getting the aesthetics and the feel of what this watch is to me. Everything great about the California, the shape in a much smaller size, and look how slim it is. It will slide under the cuff in any environment. This will be super wearable, be it on weekend with jeans and cardigan, or be it under a tux. And you know what? Come to think of it, this would probably be, you know, for someone who is a little bit more reserved and conservative and what have you, it's probably a perfect one piece done deal in terms of a one-piece collection. It's got that sporty aesthetics, at the same time also that dress watch feel. It's pretty basic movement, but you know, again, it's solid. I can't complain about it. So this watch is something that I really enjoy wearing now. In fact, this is probably getting a lot of wrist time when I'm not wearing my 36 Explorer. So an interesting story about this particular watch is when I was in this boutique and when I was talking to the lovely gentleman that was working in the boutique that sold me the watch, they were sharing with me about the story about what Panerai currently offer in terms of their, I don't know, point of difference, you want to call it that? That if you purchase a certain variety of their watch, they invite you, for the price that you pay for that watch, you get business class tickets to go to Italy, and then to go on this luxury yacht and to sail next to one of the, you know, top racing yachts in the world alongside of it, and you get this full day of first class experience, wine and dine, and a whole box and dice. I believe the watch, I think, was something like maybe $40,000 or $50,000, and it was only a few made. You know, if you bought this watch and you went on this journey, you'll be one of the few that participated in this event. In the grand scheme of things, you know, $40,000, $50,000 is a lot of money for a watch. But when you bolt on business class tickets to Europe, to Italy, you get thrown in this, you know, really first class experience of sailing and having, you know, like-minded Paneiristes next to you, talking about the watch, talking about sailing, enjoying the high life. The whole experience essentially is priceless. Of course, I didn't pull the trigger because I don't have a spare $40,000, $50,000 to spend on that watch at the time. But it was an interesting concept when I heard it because I didn't know that Panerai did something like this. And later on, it was told to me that, you know, it was quite sought after in terms of as a pull card for them as a brand. And I'm sure a lot of folks who goes on those journeys and would have had a great time. And if any one of you who's been on this journey, please share your comments underneath to let us know whether it's worth it or not. So this is the watch. Great watch. This was, I believe, it was just a snippet over 9,000 Australian dollars. And for me, I think it's a great purchase. It's by no means cheap watch. It's, you know, not everyone has a spare $9,000 laying around. But if you're a watch collector, you love your Panerais, and you know, you have the money saved wanting to get a smaller Panerai, you can't really go wrong with this. You know, for me, this is just an absolute pleasure. At 40 mil, I think it's just a perfect size for the cushion case. I simply can't wear the 47. I mean, look at the two. I mean, this one, you can always get a bracelet and put it on your neck and... Model number of this PAM is, just reading from actually my invoice here, is the PAM01293. And this is the blue dial version. There is a black dial version as well. My wrist size, so to all you viewers, I've got a really bunged up wrist, if you can tell, right? So you can see this protrusion, right? A word of advice here is, if you have any time you think you hurt your bone, make sure you go and get seen. This is a result of not being, you know, an injury not being seen for 30 years and eventually just grows into this monstrosity. So which simply means that no watch actually ever sits flush. So it's always sitting on a slant, as you can see. So my wrist size is 6.9 inches, where most of my watches sit, which is just behind this monstrosity of a bone deformity. For me, for my wrist size, 40mm Panerai cushion case is the perfect size. You know, it's such a beautiful sweet spot. And it's just so slim. It just slides under the cuff so easily, be a shirt, be a jumper, and it's just such an attractive watch. It's a very, you know, I don't like to use the word classy, because the ones who says classy often has the least class, but it is a classy watch, right? And again, if you're new to luxury watch collecting and so forth, I just want to have something. Price of this is actually not 9,000. It's actually under 9,000. It was just $8,800 Australian. So it's a lot of money. Do I recommend, if you've never owned a Swiss watch or a luxury watch for that matter, and you've got this much money to buy this particular watch? It depends. If this is your feel and look, you love the cushion size, you love the brand, the identity of a Panerai, by all means, absolutely, right? If you're someone who can't wear anything larger than this particular size, then this has to be the only choice, and you really love Panerai, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. But if it's your first time into, you know, higher price watch purchases and collecting and so forth, probably not. You might want to go for the usual suspects, something that, you know, maybe the Rolex or some Tudors and what have you. But let's face it, this particular watch isn't really there, or wasn't created for, you know, the first time luxury watch buyers. It's really bought by people who know the brand, who love the watch like me, the identity of the watch, but can't wear the larger one. It just wants something smaller. And this then, you know, for someone like me, it's a very easy purchase, okay? That's all I can say about the type of market or the audience that this particular watch goes for. The movement is P900. I'm sure it's not an in-house movement. It could be someone else's movement. You guys can Google that online. I won't be bothered telling you about something I don't really know or have any interest in, unless it's a super complicated movement. This is probably a very generic movement, I'm sure, P900. So with all that being said, yeah, this is I guess a review of sorts, but I guess just to show you guys the latest acquisition to the collection here at TGL, where, you know, we're accumulating collection and we're doing a lot of watch conversations and chats with all you good folks. And if you're thinking about this watch, and if you know this watch, I highly recommend you go to the boutique and try it on, because it's so, so sweet. And on that bombshell, I think that's about it. I think I'm going to do a video to give you guys a bit of understanding about the kind of collector I am, and why I collect watches, or why I enjoy watches, and why I'm talking about watches in a logistics channel. And that wraps it up. Thank you very much.